If the idea of decentering men sounds harsh, unrealistic, reactionary, or unsavory in some way to you, I'm going to give you a little bit more of a nuanced meaning and some nuanced phrases to help you understand the sentiment behind this growing trend. Take it from a 43-year-old divorcee with children who's been there and done that. Decentering men, or as I interpret it, decentering the obsession with love, will soften your life more than quitting a job will, more than sitting in the house and not exposing yourself to sunlight and getting manis and petties all the time and having slow mornings and, drinking cute cups of coffee and photographing it for the gram. Decentering the obsession with love will do more good for your psyche, your body, and your mind than any of those other things ever will. Because listen, this soft life idea started out great. It started out with women no longer choosing to live a life where they were agreeing with being exploited at every turn by their jobs, by their family members, by their friends, and particularly by the men in their lives. Now, what many women don't realize is that it's been turned into yet another commercial fiasco. Rather than being exploited for your labor, now you're being exploited for dollars. And guess what you have to do to get those dollars? Put on a show for a man. If that's not labor, I don't know what is. Decenter consumerism. Decenter the obsession with love that makes you subject yourself to abuse and exploitation. Decenter those things. For a lot of people in these YouTube streets, femininity has become just another business, just another grift. And many of you have gone from being desperate and obsessed over your men to being desperate and obsessed over the products and trinkets that the perpetrators of femininity are constantly trying to sell you. Decenter greed and materialism, if you feel so led. Decenter the obsession with fairy tale thinking, with the idea that you must be treated like a princess at all times. Grow up. Decenter your own ego for a little while, and your life will be softer than it's ever been. And you can still go to the gym and work out. You can still work that job that you love. If you love your job, you can still run your business. You can still be a boss bitch. You can still do all of those things that speak to action and the fire that naturally burns within you. All of those things that we've been told aren't feminine because somebody out there is trying to trick us into sitting down and shutting up and not having as forward of an impact on the world as we have been able to develop in the last several decades. Don't just accept these ideas as they're being fed to you. Don't even accept what I'm saying to you. You have got to do the work to figure out who you are and what comes naturally for you, and decide what femininity and softness is for you. Decide what kind of life you want to live, and don't let anybody disparage you for walking in your innate gifts, whatever they might be. It's up to you. You can't be a princess forever. Queens know how to get down to business. Your own personal definition of femininity encompasses everything, every interest, every strength, every action that comes naturally for you. It is not defined by anyone else's products or philosophy, unless you want it to be. And absolutely feel free to not just decenter, but completely eliminate all idiots, hobos, husbums, and people who would come into your life to suck you dry. Decenter all of the bullshit ideas that have been prepackaged and handed to us as gender roles or relationship expectations or the big wedding fantasy or scripted reality TV shows where people hope to find love at first sight. Antiquated religious ideas that have you salivating for the opportunity to bow down as someone's helpmeet. Flawed family structures rooted in imperialism and highly imperfect economic systems that cause you to exalt the one who is likeliest to be the weakest link in the family as the leader. Decenter your greed and your fantasy thinking so that you won't be trapped by the trinkets of cute clothes, trips, trinkets, jewelry, nice wigs, and makeup routines that are all intended to pacify you back into a powerless position. Sure, there's nothing wrong with having any of those things. But when you have to contort yourself into something you're not, bend over backwards, or sell your soul to get them, you're back at square one. And listen, I'm not talking down on all of those sisters out there that are hustling every day trying to sell you the accoutrements of femininity. They are trying to run businesses. They have to put down the girlies with the natural hair, the girlies with the dark skin, the girlies with the unconventionally feminine jobs, or the ladies who don't fit the mold, who like to go out there and do their own thing. They have to put women who are not like them down and denigrate them, create words, derogatory phrases and words to describe them. That's a sales tactic. They're doing that to prey upon the weak-minded women who don't want to be considered, those derogatory terms. And that's supposed to pressure you into buying whatever they're selling you. Because it's marketed to you as pampering, it doesn't immediately come across as the effort that requires hundreds and even thousands of dollars to accomplish that it truly is. It ain't nothing but another job, sis. It's just the one that is more palatable to the society at large for you to have. And if you have any real intellect or creativity about yourself, you'll get bored with it. And that boredom could potentially drive you out of your mind. But if you're smart and you can think for yourself, you can eat the fish and spit out the bones. You can take the advice that they offer that works for you, and you can move on and be the individual, the unique person that you are. You can live a full, well-rounded life as a woman who is fully confident and seated in her power as an individual. If that ain't feminine, I don't know what is. Learn to spot and decenter bullshit. Because if you don't, I swear it won't matter whether or not you have some raggedy man in your life, you will still be miserable. I mean, it'll certainly help to not have the shackles of a trash relationship attached to your limbs. But you've got to do the deeper work. Because at the end of the day, men and women need each other. Women need men to stop fucking around and evolve. And we as women, we got some work to do too. The human race is not going to get to the next level unless a critical mass of us chooses to go higher. Men and women need each other to grow up so that we don't have to keep living on a shithole planet. Decenter the grand fuckery that has you still holding out hope, still waiting around for that knight in shining armor, that high-value man, that love of a lifetime, the one. Get out of the partnership rat race and live your life. Decenter the nuclear family farce in your mind and the idea that the only valid form of family is the idea that has been force-fed to you. These women out here want to be considered feminine. They want to be considered the epitome of femininity, but they absolutely do not want to be considered feminist because the men hate that. And they also recognize that the fatal flaw of the feminist movement has been its downright betrayal of femininity. How ironic. How about we work on being more humane? How about everybody grow up and learn to function as a fully realized adult, as a humane human being whose ultimate goal is not to live off the tit of somebody else's provision, somebody else's energy, somebody else acting as their helpmeet. Gender roles are tools. They really are not best when you use them as prisons to keep yourself sequestered in the tiny little box of expectations that has been prepared for you. The fantasy of that limited edition high value man has become just as delusional, just as insidious as the fantasy of fairy tale love. It's a marketing strategy. So choose to decenter every single one of these bullshit fantasies and instead live a full and authentic life, comfortable in your own skin. This is Inanna Joy, sharing a few of the things that I've learned and some things that I'm still learning with you. Thanks for jumping in the joy well with me, where we examine what it means to grow and to live and love through life's joy, pain, sunshine, or rain. In the joy well, you will follow your bliss to your purpose. You will align with your joy and live well. See you soon.